Well, thanks for your time, everybody. That was a really productive meeting. Working from home, or shirking from home as it's sometimes referred, might conjure up images like this. It might also bring to mind some images like this. I guess the big question here is, does remote work actually work? Will that freedom help your business grow and pass those benefits on to the customer, or will it backfire? Either way, it's a concept that's worth exploring. So I spent a couple days working from home just to see what lessons I could take away from the experience. Working from home certainly has its distractions. Somehow, TV turned itself on. I don't know who did that. It wasn't me. Must have been somebody else who lives here. Turn on the TV. One of the cool perks of working from home is doing all the cool stuff that you couldn't otherwise do in an office. Like today, I'm doing laundry. To learn a little bit more about what remote work is really like, I touched base with my coworker Annabelle.
I do like hanging out with my cat all day when he actually gives me the time of day. I like being able to just, work where I want to work in the house or outside of the house and how I want to work, and just get my stuff done in the time that I need. I think that's huge, whether it's an office environment or working remotely. If employees get to choose what works best for them, they're ultimately going to do better work and be happier all around. Key components for business growth. That being said, it's not all berries and cream. There are some pitfalls to working remotely. It is harder to switch off at the end of the day. It'll come to 7:30 and I kind of realize I'm still working because there's not that reason to get up and leave and go home and just switch it off. Annabelle mentioned this really interesting experiment run by a guy named Nicholas Bloom. He's a professor at Stanford and he's basically an evangelist for all things remote work.
I implore you to think very seriously about working from home. Even if you try it just one day a week, give it a try. There's not much to lose and there's a lot to gain. Thank you.
He worked with a company called Ctrip. They're China's largest travel agency with 16,000 employees. Ctrip is headquartered in Shanghai, where rent prices are astronomical. So as part of this experiment, Nicholas set up two groups. One control group who would continue to work in the office, and then one experimental group that would work from home. The results showed a boost in productivity for those remote workers, equivalent to basically a full day's work each week. They consistently reported that they found it easier to concentrate at home, they took shorter breaks, they didn't have to worry about commuting back and forth, they had fewer sick days, and they took fewer vacation days. The company, Ctrip, saved almost $2,000 per employee by reducing the office space at their headquarters. But interestingly, over half of that group, the volunteer remote workers, they felt a little bit too much isolation in working from home 100% of the time. That feeling of isolation is definitely something I can relate to in just a few days of working from home myself. Anytime I go outside after having been inside all day, it feels a little bit jarring. Kind of like that scene in Castaway where Tom Hanks goes back to civilization, but he can't sleep in the hotel bed.
Well done!
So Dr. Bloom at the end of the experiment told Ctrip that the best solution would probably be a flexible work from home policy. I think for any company to commit to allowing their employee to work however they see fit and however they work best, just providing that autonomy and that freedom to choose, I think is huge. And it says a lot about that company and the culture that it wants to foster. Now, obviously no two employees are the same, no two companies are the same. Remote work is by no means a one-size-fits-all solution if it makes business sense. If you're seeing increased productivity among employees and decreased costs, which means passing on savings onto your customers, then it's a no-brainer. I think for me, my experience of working from home for these couple days was really great. I felt productive, but I also learned a lot about the obstacles of remote work life. And that in turn, I think will help me be a little bit more empathetic in working with remote coworkers like Annabelle. And maybe we'll even provide some key takeaways that I could bring back to the office.
Hey man, you wanna go play Xbox?
Yeah,